There's a lot to talk about with the most recent patch, and obviously I'm going to be highlighting the Street Fighter crossover in this video, but let's just jump around some different games. I'm going to be playing some Luke, some Bison, some Dalsim, and some Sakura. Now, obviously, there's Ken, but Ken's just like a very slightly different version of Ryu. He just got fire sig effects, like woohoo. Okay, so two things. Yes, I know my audio isn't as good as it was before. I got some sound panels. I'm going to be putting them up very, very soon. It's just that I don't have the time right now. Also, another thing is that, yeah, you're hearing the original sounds, at least the original PC sounds. That's because I'm on the tournament training branch. And if you want to access that, I'll throw up an image on the screen. If you just go in Steam, properties for Brawlhalla, and then you go into the beta section, you can opt in there. But anyways, onto the actual contents of the video. So, Street Fighter Part 2. Brawlhalla officially now has almost as many crossovers as actual legends, and that's kind of concerning. I know I'm going to be late to the party with a lot of what I'm saying, but I still think it's good that I actually make a video about this and get my own take out here. The crossovers themselves, like, yeah, they're what you expect, normal crossover BS, but aside from that, it's just kind of strange that this patch completely changed sounds, and that's super, super weird. Like, the disconnect is nuts. I don't know who is asking for those sounds to be put in the game, and the real answer is the fact that, okay, console sounds, they had the new updated engine, and so they just kind of wanted everything to be on an even playing field and matching, and I can, I can understand that for sure, but it's so crazy how bad it is. There's volume changes, there's reused sounds that really don't make sense. It's just a plethora of issues. And the fact that they actually responded to people's outcry on Twitter just kind of says it all for me. Also, there's some really worrying aspects about this crossover. One is namely Luke. Luke as a whole is kind of crazy. I mean, there's example 1, here's example 2. The original cross actually has some animation there, which is very, very, very beneficial to the player. Now, Luke, on the other hand, has a hitbox that you don't even get to see any animation for at the very, tip of it. He also has that, which is crazy. I actually think, and I didn't really get to talk about M. Bison a lot, I think M. Bison is honestly my favorite out of all of them. I think Luke is pretty cool too, but there's so many broken aspects about Luke that it makes it hard to really root for him. I don't know. It's so tough rooting for a character that is like this egregiously broken compared to the original. I never like it, because now you obviously have incentive for buying the crossover, and I guess maybe that's what BMG is going for, but it's like BMG is gonna make their money anyways. It's a Street Fighter crossover. Why would they even need to feel? Why would they need to feel the need to do that? It's just it's very odd to me, and I don't like to think that there's some greedy intentions there, but it is very, very weird. And in the end, is it greedy or is it just a smart business move? I mean, who am I to really make that judgment? You know what I mean? But yeah, like that SIG in particular is crazy. N-SIG is probably the only one that really lines up on the Gauntlet kit. The D-SIG is just psycho. This new feature where you don't gray out when you're out of jumps is crazy. Why on God's green earth would you ever decide to implement that as a change, or even bother testing it? It just feels like a waste of time. And I think it's not going to be added, but it's just scary because who was wanting that change? You guys haven't even, and by you guys, I mean BMG, you guys haven't even fixed sweat beads. That's crazy to me. You've had that mechanic in for so long, and it's a great mechanic when it's working. But the fact of the matter is, there's times when it's not working, and now you're wanting to remove one of the other visual indicators of being able to tell when you're out of jumps or when you're out of one of your options. It's just all feeling very, very weird. And the sound thing in particular is just I mean, that's just psycho to me. Like, I don't understand that. I was really rooting for the new sounds, and I was like really trying to give them a chance. But in hindsight, after being able to swap back to the old sounds, it's crazy. That, I'm telling you right now, you just saw it. That person right there died because they didn't know they were out of jumps. Like, if the people don't pay attention to the little tint effect, like, oh, a lot of people don't notice that effect, that is fine. But when you have players that actively look for that, and now it's gone, well, what the heck? Like, you're only harming people. The people who didn't notice to begin with, they're not going to notice this change either, so why even bother? I don't want to sound like I'm on some Brawlhalla bandwagon of hate. Like, that's the last thing I want for this game. And admittedly, you know, there's a reason why you see people like Bloomy and Egg Soup and other, like, top players making videos like this. I mean, maybe aside from Wrench, that guy seems to genuinely have hate in his heart and only spites this game at this point. But it's just so weird. It's really because we all love the game, and it's something that's given us, you know, quite the platform to work with. Without Brawlhalla, it's kind of like, you know, maybe there'd be other ways where we would have influence, but who's to say? Like, because of this game, we've all managed to get a platform, and truly I'll only speak for myself in that regard, but this game, as of now, is directly tied to my livelihood, and I don't want to see it go under by any means, you know, and especially when you have a game like Multiverses on the rise. I would see that as a Brawlhalla dev, I would see that as a direct attack on what I've built, and I would do everything I possibly could to make sure I don't have like top players and influencers going straight to that game, and maybe that's inevitable, but also it just feels like with an update like this, it was, I don't know, like, are they practically saying, oh yeah, go play Multiverses? Like, I don't even know. Multiverses isn't alpha, and yes, they did start from a bigger studio. They had a lot more resources. Brawlhalla was started in 2014. Multiverses is, you know, in alpha, releasing in 2022. There's a lot of reasons and a lot of advantages that Multiverses has, but in the end, it's just like, it's still scary with the sound changes and BMG primarily focusing on making money instead of introducing new mechanics that people want to see, or even the mechanics like sweat beads, for example. Even introducing them, having them properly work, I think that's so important and vital to the game that Brawlhalla is kept fresh, and every once in a while, and you know, it doesn't even have to be every once in a while, just every so many years, just find a way, whether it be minor or major, to just really bring some new freshness and bring some fresh life into the game. I will say though, really quick, dude, Sakura, so broken. I hate Lin Fei already, and this little anime girl is insane. Like, lack of startup animations, you have no idea where the sightseeing on Katars is going. Yeah, I'm done with this character. Dhalsim's the final guy I'll be playing some games with, and you know, Dhalsim, I like this crossover because it makes me not have to actually look and play Rayman. To me, Dhalsim's just a lot cooler, and you know, some might disagree, but I do like the Joe Biden sig, if you can hear that. And then obviously this is pretty cool, and then this is just broken. There's not really much of an excuse for that. Like, they could have made that louder at the very least. It's not like that SIG wasn't already broken or anything, and then they go on and somehow find a way to make it even more unbearable. But what else? Yeah, the other D-SIG on Dhalsim's kind of the same. Now, okay, I know I've been kind of talking about a lot of stuff I hate with this patch, but it's like, okay, well, you know, wise guy, what would you do to really help with the changes? I would say listen to community feedback more, for one. That seems to be something that, for whatever reason, doesn't happen very often. There's a lot of quality of life, like leaderboards in game, new ranked stuff. Like, ranked is in major need of a huge overhaul. Like, I don't know why they haven't done that yet. That would be great, especially for the competitive side of the community. It makes ranked actually feel somewhat relevant and important. And then also this new sound thing, like, it's just so weird. I'm sure they'll fix it. I think for the time being though, you know, it's just that was very disappointing on their part. And also another thing, add new gadgets. I think new gadgets could be very cool. You know, let me throw like a little ice block or something that makes people freeze. just literally rip off Smash Brothers. It's not that hard. There's plenty of gadgets you could add in, and then maybe make a menu for them so you can disable and enable which ones you want, but I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do to make Brawlhalla just much more fun as just a casual party game, as well as a competitive esport. It just feels like, for the time being, they haven't been doing that. I'm hoping they break the cycle, but for now, that's all I got. Please don't send any hate towards the Brawlhalla devs. I'm sure they'll come around. I always like to have hope that they will, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.